Hi guys, it's Naomi with Naomi Tarot, and I'm live again. This video is going to be a discussion about Saturnalia and Yule and how it is the original origins of Christmas and how that came to be. We're also going to talk about nature spirits. Are they real? Have I had experiences with them? And we're also going to have a discussion on about the full moon, the beaver moon, coming up on November 12th. Thank you all for joining or who will join my videos. I appreciate all of you. If you'd like your own reading, go to naomitarot.com. I also offer life coaching sessions in addition to spells and incantations, and you can find all the pricing for that on naomitarot.com. I appreciate all of you, as I said, and thank you everybody who's joining the chat. And if you watch this video, it's timeless. It means it's going to apply to any time you watch it. It's not time sensitive except for the full moon. Of course, though, full moons all have a similar pattern every month, regardless of what they particularly symbolize, of expansion and letting go. So that will apply to any full moon, what I talk about in regards to that. But the abundance is specific with it being a Taurus full moon on November 12th. So let's get into the discussion. So the great thing about this full moon is that, yes, it is in November and it's during a Mercury retrograde, which is about letting go. It's about releasing things, negative fears or worries, etc., relationships with others, or things that we find unsavory or unfavorable in our life. But it's also about abundance because this full moon falls in Taurus. It's particularly favorable, even though it's in the month of Scorpio, the actual moon is going to be in Taurus. So it means that Taurus is all about building, saving, and monetary wealth, being surrounded by wealth, much like Leo. But the motivations behind Taurus's wealth talks about us needing money to feel secure and peace of mind, whereas Leo needs it for ego, to shine, to kind of to show off in a way. Taurus needs it for basic security and to feel okay. Some signs don't always need it, like Aquarius can be good with or without it. Taurus needs it for their very state of well-being. So this full moon is really much about money that's really going to help us, right? Abundance and maybe career changes or advancements or promotions that are going to help us at a basic visceral level and really help us to feel more secure. So embracing that abundance, it's a great time to do an incantation, or you can order one if you'd like to. I have them on my website to do incantations for monetary gain. Also, you can always do love incantation or prayers if you would prefer to pray on full moons, whatever, to attract that positive energy to you. You can also do it for love too. Because full moons are all about expanding what we already have, right? Waning moons, when they decrease in size, are about letting go. You can let go in full moons as well. And waxing moons are about the increasing. So you can always do any type of incantation or intention on any moon, really. I feel that it's all about your intention and your belief in something. But the full moon is truly the best time of every month. The full moon we have once a month to do any expansion, any letting go, anything really is the best on the full moon. And doubly so if you're a woman and you're going through your time of the month on the full moon. Now, this may be TMI for some gentlemen who may watch this video, and ladies, if you're uncomfortable with discussing this, I'm sorry, but we shouldn't be. When you're going through your time of the month, the full moon is the best time to be doing something, and it's compounded when you have your time of the month, because that is supposed to be when you go more into your reflective, intuitive energy, and there's something that happens within your body and the hormones and how you go more within and feel more viscerally, intuitively during that time. So if you are going through your time of the month, at that point, it's going to be extremely beneficial, that moon magic energy. So that's my discussion about the full moon. So get ready, get excited, because I'm probably going to do a live video that day. And if you ordered a reading, I think I have one person's reading who is due that day. So you're the lucky lady who are probably going to be doing it either the night of the 11th or on the 12th. One person whose reading is due that day. I believe it's Anna. I might be doing a little bit early, Anna, or I might do it on that moon. But if you would like to order a reading on that day, you can, or you can order an incantation again, because it's a great day to do it. Full moons are always great days for it. Now let's move on to the next part of the video. So we're going into a season, or we are kind of in a season already if you don't celebrate Thanksgiving. But even so, Thanksgiving is a very secular holiday. It's based on American history, whether you agree or not. What we did, unfortunately, not we did, because I didn't do it, but what settlers did to the indigenous people of this country, whether or not you agree with that, that's celebration is about coming together, you know, visiting with family, sharing food. So it's a very secular holiday. But regardless of Thanksgiving or not or whatever, we're kind of already going into this Yuletide season. And the ancient Celts, who their high priests were the Druids, celebrated their own rituals for the winter solstice that are some customs that we still use today in what is called Christmas. In addition to that, the ancient Romans celebrated a holiday called Saturnalia, which is where a lot of the origins of Christmas customs and traditions come from. Now, if you're Christian and you're getting offended by this, unfortunately, I'm sorry, that's too bad, because that's where these traditions come from. I still incorporate Christian elements, symbols, and belief systems into what I do with paganism, but I wouldn't say that I am a Christian of the traditional sense that people worship in that way. However, I incorporate all of it together in my own little thing that I've discussed many times on the channel. So that's a little disclaimer for this. If you're going to get offended, this might not be the channel for you to watch. So Saturnalia basically was a Roman celebration of the return of the sun. In Christianity, they said it was the return of the Son, S-O-N, Jesus. Jesus actually, I believe, historically was born sometime in the spring. Ancient Christians put the holiday of Christmas around Saturnalia to blanket the Roman holidays and the Druid Celtic holidays and other ancient pagan holidays celebrating the return of the sun, to kind of like replace it with S-O-N, Son of God, as opposed to Son, S-U-N, Sun God, which also could be considered Son of God, but not in the same way as Jesus. So pagans were celebrating more so the return of the actual sun, which they felt like was the male god. And Christians were actually celebrating the return of the Son of God, who they felt was Jesus. So they felt like it would be a convenient time of year to put Christmas, even though it would have been truly the birth of Christ would have been in the spring. So a lot of these customs that we practice in Christmas time, or really Yule time, because that's what it was originally called, have to do with light, fire, and greenery, because it has to do with celebrating a return of the sun. During Saturnalia, of course, they ate a lot, they drank a lot, they were celebrating. But they also did things like bring in greenery, decorate, wreaths. Everything was about green, evergreen, trees, etc. I believe it was up in Norway and Sweden where they had evergreen trees or fir trees that they would decorate. Ivy and holly and things like that were used by Druids that were decorated. And they believed the berries on them represented the new life, the fruit that was created. Also, Yule logs were burned by Druids. Druids were actually considered high priests, and they were mostly male. They were not female, actually. High priests by the ancient Celts. They were not perfect, like little airy-fairy mythical beings that people, neo-pagans, tend to kind of want to blanket that and paint them as these sweet, harm none type of people. Neo-paganism is very much about harm none, and Wicca is very much about harm none. But the Druids themselves historically practiced human sacrifice. They had like a wicker man that they would put human bodies actually inside of and burn to help keep another person alive. So they would sacrifice one person to save another person's life. So they did do practices like that in addition to divination and magic. So they were not all airy-fairy, like good little furry, funny friends. You know what I mean? I'm trying to say that they weren't like that cartoon character, sweet, blanketed neo-pagan like some people would like to say they are. Just like in Christianity, that wasn't all fun and games and nice to everybody either. I don't think most religious practices were, to be honest with you. It's just what you take from it, how you interpret it. So when you talk about those traditions, it was basically celebrating the 21st when the solstice comes. So it was right around the time that they decided to make Christmas, which was the 25th. So all of these holidays had to do with, again, return of the sun, S-U-N, of the light, looking forward again to the lighter half of the year. In fact, the solstices of the year that we celebrate, where the holidays, where Christmas falls on one of them, but the two solstices that we have, the most important ones, are celebrated pretty much all over the world. So the one in the summer and the one in the winter are pretty much celebrated all over the world in different forms. But a lot of the customs that we're using for Christmas today were taken from European pre-Christian customs, the ones especially in this country that we use for Christmas, right? that we say are Christmas, like Christmas trees and ivy and all that, and burning, you know, a nice little fire, which was really about Yule logs and stuff like that. So that's a little something about that. And of course, some of the things that information we have about Druids is not totally factual and might be skewed in one direction because they were conquered. The Celts were conquered by the Romans. And of course, others who conquer another civilization are going to skew the real information about that civilization, particularly if they're not too fond of them. So there's that as well. So I'm going to look at the comments for a little bit. And then I'm going to talk, actually, let me just go into, I'm going to keep talking and then I'll look at the comments at the end just to keep this organized. So now I'm going to talk about nature spirits. Are they real? Are they not real? You guys had a question about that. Well, I don't claim to be the authority on everything. I don't act like I'm, you know, some people in my personal life misinterpret it as that. They think that that's what I'm trying to do, but it's just, I think when you have Gemini, Virgo, and Aquarius, which are all communicators in your chart, you have this need to just share the stuff that you read all the time, that you do know a lot. You don't feel like you know everything, but you know a lot because all we ever do when you have a lot of air signs and Virgo in your chart is read nonstop, just read. Everything that you want to think of and look up, you read. And this is why I know a lot of stuff. However, just because fairies or nature spirits seem like these mythical creatures in you know, childhood stories like Tinkerbell, and they've been made to look like these silly little creatures. It depends on what culture and which tradition you're going from and what you think they are. Because according to the ancient Celts or Celts, I don't know, somebody who's Irish, can you tell me if I'm supposed to pronounce Celts like a K or like an S sound? Because I still don't get it and I keep switching my pronunciation. So somebody tell me, please, who is Irish, who either gets readings from me or just watches my channel. Can you tell me? But anyways, because then I'll correct it and always say it the right way. So they actually believed that these fae, they called them the fae, were very terrifying, vicious creatures. They would do things in Irish or Scottish stories like steal children, cause havoc, punish people if they did anything bad to their living areas or built homes around them. So they weren't these cute little Tinkerbell types of creatures. In Iceland, I think that they think of them slightly differently. They're not as scary as they are in Irish or Scottish folklore, but they are, you know, something to work with nature, and they'll help you. You help them, they'll help you. But they certainly don't look like these cute little, you know, cartoon characters. My opinion is I have never personally seen them. I have felt like, I think that if it's possible, if, you know, Christians and other people believe in angels, then it is certainly possible that there are other spiritual beings on different dimensions of the earth. I think that is certainly a possibility. I personally have never seen them, but I do believe they exist. I look at them more as like nature angels, nature spirits, kind of like the person who asked me this question commented, do you believe in nature spirits? So I think it's kind of more along that line, like a nature spirit. I think they could be good and bad. I don't think that anything's really one or the other in any existence. Most things have good and bad, light, dark, low vibration, high vibration energy. So that's what I think about that. But yeah, they actually are a true belief of some people who still live in Ireland today still believe in them. I think in Scotland too. I'm not sure if they still believe in them in Scotland, but I'm pretty sure because, you know, people like to joke around like the Scottish are the cousins of the Irish. You know, they're very similar culturally. And I do know in Iceland, I watched a whole documentary about it, actually very fascinating. They have a whole culture that truly believes in these beings. In addition to that, other cultures that are affected by Celts or Celts who came over to this country, like Newfoundland up in Canada, they have a strong culture and belief in nature spirits as well. So that's what I know about that. And now let me look at the comment section. And where did I put my glasses? You know, this is what happens. I have glasses, I had them set aside, and now I can't find them. So let me just look at my phone so I can look at the comments. Okay. So thank you, April, Gigi, Cheryl, Mickey, Nicole, Faraway Tree, Kelly, thank you guys so much for coming. I appreciate you. And I'm just trying to go through the comments on here. Kelly says she believes him and she supports him and doesn't tell him it's his imagination. There was a child, her son saw fairies in the backyard, and an aunt who had passed away and grandparents who had passed away. Well, that's nice that you're very supportive of that. Unfortunately, what adults do is they dismiss it in children, and then this is how we lose abilities and beliefs in things, because adults dismiss it. April says, I'm Christian and I'm fascinated by other forms of spirituality. I'm attracted to the history. I'm not sure if it's my Pisces sun, Cancer moon, or Capricorn rising. And you're a cusp in Aquarius. Well, I mean, it could be that. It could also be the way you're raised. I think it's a combination of things. I think it's the way you're raised, April. I think it's also your astrology. I think it's a combination of many things. Your temperament you're born with. But yeah, water signs, especially, well, Pisces really is into that kind of stuff. I've never really met Pisces who are not at least open to it. Gigi, I do the glasses thing all the time. Yeah, I'm always putting them down, then I can't see it because they're like a burgundy color. So they blend into the desk or whatever desk. Usually most desks I'm sitting at are like a brown color. So I need a white desk, then I could see the glasses. I know this is off the wall. I dreamed of my brother that passed away. Mostly I was seeing him looking around. Well, maybe he was visiting you. Maybe these are not just dreams, but they're actually visitations. That's something to consider or think about. I don't know for sure because I'm not the one who had the dream, but it could be. That's a possibility. Wow, I said all that stuff in like 16 minutes. I didn't realize I talked that fast. That went by fast. So does anybody have any questions they want to ask? I'll add in a little time for questions at the end. Then I'm going to upload a video on the royals that I did. But the extended one will be on Patreon. Yeah, Gigi, that could happen. I think that they possibly could actually be contacting you. I'm glad you guys like the lives. I think the lives from my channel personally, because I don't have a gigantic community, but I feel like my community is pretty close knit. Like you guys are familiar with each other and people are friendly. I've worked really hard to make sure it's a respectful community, to get rid of people who are not of that energy of respect. And at least we don't always have to be positive all the time, but at least kind to others. So I like the fact that my community that we're building together on this channel has a lot of supportive people. And you guys ask great questions. Of course, I want to expand it more, but I enjoy doing the lives because there's a positive interaction, feedback, and you guys give me good ideas for readings as well. Mickey, you can ask a question. Are you referring to a question you already asked, or do you want to ask it? Is it about the trees? Let me see, because I have to go back up to the comments on the top because I don't see all of them. Is it if trees can communicate with people? Well, like I always say, I'm not the authority on everything. I don't claim to be. There are certain things like historically, connections of things that I've experienced personally in my life that I know a lot about that I could talk about. I think it's certainly possible in their own way. They are energetic beings. They're connected to the earth. You know, it's weird. It's kind of like a contradictory thing with me. I was thinking that at least in right now in my younger year part of my life, and I'm still fairly young, they say that I'm in my 30s. They say 40s is the youth of old age, and then 50s is no, 40s is the old age of youth, and 50s is the youth of old age. So according to that opinion, I'm still in somewhat of my youth being in my 30s. So I don't have the rest of my life to look at to see if I'll prefer the countryside better when I'm older. But right now, I prefer cities. So I have a strong contradiction. I practice a spirituality that is very nature based, but I like cities. So it's kind of contradictory, right? A lot of people who are Wiccan or pagan, or whether they're a Christian witch or whatever they are, they tend to like to be out in the woods. I'll visit people sometimes out in the woods, but it's not my thing to stay out there. So I don't really know. I am connected to nature. I love the ocean. I love salt water. I love the beach. But I'm not like this big nature person where I could say like trees speak to people or this with nature. You know what I mean? Even though I practice a spirituality that can be nature based. So it's hard to say. I'm not going to act like I know whether or not they communicate. I think they could. I certainly think anything is possible with a living thing that can feel pain, that can feel, I'm sure they can feel something when their branches are ripped off or something like that when they're not meant to fall off. Maybe children, if a child is saying that they can hear them, or they can, it could be there in their imagination, but it could also be that they just have abilities that are not told by others all the time. Oh, it's not possible, it's not real. So then they believe it. So, and then some of us who are told that still believe it. So it depends. April, you're welcome. I'm glad that you feel like you've learned so much. I like talking about it. And I'm glad that you come to this channel because you always offer really like interesting opinions, and like you're helpful, especially with like suggestions for things on like, maybe how to organize them better or something like that. And then so Kelly wants to live out in the mountains. Yeah, that would be nice. I know people who really are connected. It's like different types of nature. Most people have a certain type of nature they're connected to. So like I know people, like two other people who really love the mountains. I really love the beach. That's probably my nature thing then, is I like oceans. I like salt water. Nicole is grateful for this channel. A lot of channels are hateful. Naomi on the astrological side. How can you tell a sign is afflicted? Well, I don't know, afflicted. I'm not necessarily like I don't always use all those terms exactly like how other people use them that do astrology and tarot, but I can tell when a sign is low energy or high energy, obviously. It's interesting. It's kind of just like a distortion of the positive aspects of them when a sign is high or low energy, or it's like a resistance to the negative aspect of it. Oh, so that just made me think of a really good thing that I came to the epiphany of when I was talking about signs the other day with my aunt. I think it was my aunt or my friend Melissa. I don't remember. Might have been my friend Josephina. But besides that, it doesn't matter who it was I talked to. It's just that I came to this conclusion. Whatever a sign is, the opposite sign of that sign, when that sign becomes negative, a lot of times they'll take on the negative attributes of their opposite. So for instance, I'll use Virgo as an example because I know Virgos really well. Virgo, the opposite of Virgo is Pisces. So when a Virgo is in their darker vibration, they will take on the negative attributes of Pisces, not the positive ones. When a Pisces is in their negative vibration, they'll take on the negative aspects of Virgo. So for instance, and I've seen this in Virgo males several times actually, of all ages, all backgrounds, it didn't matter. Virgo tends to be very careful, very measured, very organized, plan things right. When they're in their lower vibration, they go in the negative vibration of Pisces. So addiction, being all over the place, sloppy, not organized. You get me? And then when Pisces is in the negative, they will go into the negatives of Virgo, being overly strict, overly stringent, worrying all the time, organizing everything, uptight. So it's interesting. It's like you take on the negative attributes of the opposite sign. So like Aquarius, the opposite would be Leo. For a sign like, let me think. For a sign like Cancer, the opposite would be Capricorn. The opposite of Capricorn would be Cancer. The opposite of, let me try to think. I don't know too many other opposites. Those are the ones I can get off the top of my head. I can give you explanations of how the opposites will play out, but to tell you which sign is opposite which, I'd have to look that up. But yeah, so that's something I started to add in astrology readings too, to talk about when you're in your low vibration, you will act like the opposite sign in the negative, because the opposite sign isn't always negative. Everybody's positive and negative. It's just those negative attributes of the opposite sign you'll start to act like. April, my favorite nature is water. I'm not into wooded areas. Me either, because I'm like definitely allergic to poison ivy. And I had a really traumatic experience with it where I am so, like, I have like a phobia, I think. I'm so scared of it. I'm always worrying about it when I go in the woods. So I don't even enjoy myself. I like the ocean better. I feel safer and happier. The opposite sign of Aries is Libra. Yes, Nicole. Yes, it is. And I'll tell you why. See, I can't think of the actual names off the top of my head, but when you write it down, then I'll remember. It is because Aries is the individual, Libra is too. One is trying to always do everything alone. The other one always has to do things in a partner or has to do things with others. And that's their life lesson, right? So the opposite negative of an Aries would be somebody who's codependent. And when you're in your negative Aries energy, you'd be codependent, like negative Libra. If you're a Libra and you're in your negative Aries, you'll be like a dictator, like somebody who always has to have their way. You see? So it's like whatever the opposite is what manifests. Kelly, we don't have poison ivy in California. Oh, maybe I'll go there then so I can go in the woods again and I don't have to have an anxiety attack in the woods. Oh, you got West Nile, Kelly? Oh, no. Yeah, I feel like mosquitoes like bite certain people. I read somewhere that it doesn't have anything to do with what you look like, because some people are stupid and think it's the way you look. It's your blood type, and like they can smell a certain blood type or something. So like some people who get bit more, because I get bit a lot too. Maybe like people who get bit more, it's their blood type. I don't know. Oh my God. I'm sorry, Kelly. I hope you feel better. I hope I hope you are feeling better now. That's awful. Oh no. Well, I hope you get better, and I definitely am sending positive energy to you. And I hope that you continue to feel better, and ease through anything that afflicts you or is causing, anything to affect your energy. And I'll talk about that more when I do your reading too, Kelly, okay? So I'll add something into the reading. Um, so I think I probably can answer a few more questions, but I can't stay on here too much longer because you're welcome, Kelly. I can't stay on here too much longer because I want to put up that royal reading, and then I have to put the rest of it on my Patreon. So so if you guys want to answer, if you want to ask questions, you can. If not, that's fine. And I just wanted to add in, actually, I want to tell you guys this because I was thinking about it today, and I've kind of vaguely talked about it, but not really expressively. So I'm going to have to be, I really want to get into these really interesting topics for you guys, like to do part of the video on YouTube and then share the rest on Patreon. Even on Patreon now, I had a little bit of an issue. If any of you saw the JFK video or wanted to see it, unfortunately, I had to delete the file because it caused an issue with me here on this platform, and then I put it on Vimeo, and then it caused an issue there, so I just got rid of the whole thing. So I can't go into too much detail about that, but that's why it is no longer there. And certain topics, I'm going to try to be expressive with you about it, but the reason why I am going to be holding back on certain ones is not because I am being fake or I don't want to talk about it, but because there are several channels that I've seen on YouTube that I used to follow that were really informative about bringing us the truth, and they're gone. And this is like recent, in the past couple of months, they're just gone. So if I want to keep my channel on YouTube and I want to keep providing you guys good content and stuff, I can't go too much into stuff anymore, unfortunately. And even on Patreon, I have to be careful because Patreon does not have an uploading an ability to upload things from the website. You actually have to use files from private YouTube channels or private Vimeo channels to put the link on Patreon. Patreon just hosts the links. You don't actually upload videos on Patreon. So I have to be careful even on that, but I can be a little bit more expressive because those are private files. But I'm just letting you guys know that's why, unfortunately, we're not any longer living in a time of free speech, and that's all I have to say about that. And it's pretty apparent, and anybody who can't see that, I'm sorry, look between the lines. I'm not talking about anybody in the chat. I'm just saying anybody who will watch this video, read between the lines. That's what time period we're living in now, unfortunately. And it really pisses me off that that's the way things are now, but that's the way they are. So I have to monitor myself every video I do. And that's why it's good, law of attraction isn't everything. Spirituality isn't everything, but at least it's good to focus on things like that, like full moons, rituals, all those kind of things we can do, because that can only help the pervasive negativity that is now encompassing the world. And I think that was the main Palladians message and light workers or starseeds message, angels, whatever you want to call them, is that we can help raise the vibration of the world through things like that, through prayer, through incantations, through intentions, through affirmations, because regarding your ability to speak freely, there's not much we can do with that anymore, apparently. And yeah, so that's all I have to say about that. And just remember that whenever we do like celebrity things, and I do that for entertainment, and it also helps to get more of an audience on the channel. Whenever we talk about celebrity things and we talk about royal things, yeah, that's fun entertainment, but that's really all it is. Don't let it make you forget what's really important. Don't let it make you forget that if you get too immersed in it, you're doing exactly what they want you to do. That's that. So yeah. So anyways, guys, thanks for coming. And I do hope that everybody has love, light, healing, and feels positive, feels healthy within their body. And yes, it's entertainment and that's it. You're right, Kelly. Exactly. Something fun to talk about and then you just drop it. Right. Exactly. Hope everybody has love, light, and healing, positive energy. And I wish you all the best. And yeah, and whoever ordered a reading, I'm going to be doing them in the time frame I said. The first one coming up, as I said, that's due is Anna, and Michelle. So Anna and Michelle, and then the rest of you that I mentioned within that time frame. Thanks so much for watching, and I appreciate all of you. And I hope you all have a good night or day wherever you are. And I will have a video up here soon on the Royals and on Patreon. Talk to you later. Bye.